This is what I call the insect problem. See, in animation, you can make anything lovable. Toys? Sure. Monsters? Easy. Fish? No problem. But bugs? That's where things get actually messy. For decades, animators have tried to make audiences care about insects. Not fear them, not swat them, but empathize with them. And honestly, the results have been a roller coaster of weird. It's not just about design, it's about psychology. When you see a cockroach, your instinct isn't to ask about its backstory. You just want to grab a shoe. So when filmmakers try to turn that same bug into a hero, they're already fighting uphill. But man, they've tried. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it made you question your whole life afterward. From the stop-motion charm of James and the Giant Peach to the downright absurd Bee Movie, each one tried to solve the same problem. How do we make the grossest creatures on Earth lovable? Before Pixar's clean, friendly bugs or DreamWorks' anxious ants, there was one film that dared to make creepy crawlies emotional. James and the Giant Peach.
Love does exactly what it wants to do. Love.
Released in 1996 and directed by Henry Selick. Yeah, that's the same guy who gave us The Nightmare Before Christmas. This movie was basically Tim Burton's fever dream meets a fairy tale bedtime story. The story follows James, an orphan boy living with two of the most evil ants in movie history. One night he accidentally grows a giant peach, crawls inside, and meets a bunch of talking insects who become his new family. A grasshopper with class, a centipede with attitude, a spider with style, and a ladybug with motherly warmth. So Many Nightmares as a Kid can probably be credited to Rhino Cloud and to the Skeleton Pirates. But the insects themselves are actually designed just right. Not too realistic, but not cartoonish either. Because let's be real, if they looked like actual bugs, this movie would have been rated nope. I watched it a few days ago again for the spirit of Halloween, and it was actually pretty damn alright, guys. It was definitely weird, but also somehow magical. It makes you root for the insects. The pacing is a bit weird, and some of the songs do come out of nowhere without much rhythm or reason, but it still oozes so much charm. Rewatching now that I'm older brings on such a new perspective. The whole movie is actually about processing childhood trauma and him accepting the loss of his parents. If you haven't seen this movie, time to grab some peaches and watch it. I just know you won't regret it. But okay, now I know kids don't notice stuff like that, and I know that as a kid, I was fairly enthralled by the giant peach and the big-ass ladybug. But you know what's actually genius about this movie? This one was one of Hollywood's first real attempts to make bugs feel human without completely erasing their weirdness. They weren't just humans in bug costumes. They had quirks that still reminded you what they were. The centipede has too many legs, the spider is a little unsettling, and the worm? Always kinda slimy. It just worked. We cared about them when they danced, you smiled. When they fought off the rhino-shaped storm, you cheered. When James said goodbye at the end, you felt it. That's why this crash test attempt at making bugs lovable was valid, because they didn't pretend bugs were normal. They leaned into the strangeness and actually found warmth inside it. The animation was a great adaptation of the book, but I could see how it could be creepy to little kids though. For the people who still remember, that shark scene was true nightmare fuel. But James and the Giant Peach did something important here. It opened the door. It proved that even bugs could tell human stories about belonging, loneliness, and chosen family. And for the first time in animation history, audiences didn't want to squash the bugs. They wanted to hug them. And now, I really want to eat a peach. If James and the Giant Peach was about making bugs lovable, Antz was about making them relatable. Except, DreamWorks decided the best way to do that was to give every ant an existential crisis. The first time I watched Antz, I thought all this time it was a kid's movie. Well, boy howdy, it is not, I can tell you.
Don't be scared, kid.
Antz hit theaters in 1998, just before Pixar's A Bug's Life, and instantly caused drama in animation history. Both movies were about ants, both came out the same year, but they couldn't have been more different. Where Pixar went kinda lovable, DreamWorks went neurotic. And I mean literally neurotic. Their main character, Z, was voiced by Woody Allen. I mean, it's pretty remarkable that he was involved in a CG movie. As far as I'm aware, it's his only animated movie. Definitely one of his best movies too, by the way. Antz is about a bug who hated his job, questioned the system, and went to therapy. You know, stuff every 10-year-old loves. The animation style was gritty, brown, metallic.
Sound off. 1, 2. Sound off. 3. Huh?
The ants looked, well, like actual ants, with human faces. It was impressive, but also deeply unsettling. Pretty dark and sad for a kid's movie. But here's the thing, Antz did something that worked emotionally. Beneath the dark humor and sarcasm, this movie told a story about individuality versus conformity, about breaking free from a system that literally assigned your life purpose at birth.
Now bring me that soldier.
And for a bug colony, that's kind of genius. The point is that Antz was never about being cute. It was about making bugs human by giving them human problems. Every scene in Antz feels like an adult conversation trapped in a kid's body. There's a war scene that's basically Saving Private Ryan with insects. Z's best friend literally gets decapitated by a shovel. The movie worked, but for adults. The humor is sharp, the world building is clever. To be honest, Antz doesn't get enough credit. You'd be surprised how deep it actually is. But for kids, maybe just not so much. I remember I saw this in the theater when I was little. I dug it, but my mom kept leaning over to check on me the whole time. I bet the stuff that she thought would make me uncomfortable just went right over my head. I do remember the battle with the aphids was a little unsettling. I decided to rewatch it a few weeks ago since I'm a big boy now, and now I know why I remember those scenes after all those years. And then Pixar showed up. Same year, same concept, completely different approach. A Bug's Life was Pixar's second feature after Toy Story, and they weren't about to risk traumatizing kids with photorealistic mandibles. So they went the opposite route. Soft shapes, bright colors, and bugs that look like plush toys.
Time of your life, so live it well. It's the time.
Flick, the main ant, doesn't look like a real ant at all. And that's probably exactly why more kids loved him. He's round, has this beautiful bubblegum blue color, and one of those giant puppy eyes. He even walks upright like a little human and has his own little backpack made out of leaves. Aww. Like he's about to go camping in your backyard. But that's Pixar's magic formula. If something's weird or gross in real life, make it cute enough to sell as a plushie. And to be honest, it worked. A Bug's Life turned the insect world into a circus. Literally. It wasn't about bugs surviving anymore. It was about bugs performing, scheming, and standing up to bullies. Pixar sold us a human story wrapped in insects. The best proof? That's Heimlich, the caterpillar. You know,
Just snap.
Bye-bye, Birdie! I'm stuck! Schnell!
The chubby, cheerful, German-accented king of the leaf buffet? Heimlich doesn't crawl, he waddles. He doesn't eat like a bug, he eats like your uncle at a barbecue. And instead of giving you bug nightmares, he makes you want to hug him, even though he's technically a giant green grub. Heimlich's whole existence is Pixar saying, hey, see? Bugs can be adorable. The man's dream is to become a beautiful butterfly, and when he finally does, those tiny wings on his big body are the most hilarious, wholesome thing ever animated.
You're flying! But I am flying! And from way up here, you all look like little
You don't think, ew, caterpillar. You think, protect him at all costs. But if you take away the bug bodies, the bugs themselves become just a creative costume. Pixar sidestepped it and didn't make us love insects for being insects. They made us love them because they acted like humans. Did Pixar crack the code here? Maybe. If you want people to like bugs, you have to lie to them a little. Show them friendship, hope, adventure, and distract them from the fact that, in real life, ants are tiny dirt hoarders who crawl into your cereal boxes. Still, it's hard not to admire how clever it was. Where Antz went philosophical, A Bug's Life went emotional. Where DreamWorks used shadows, Pixar used sunshine. And where one gave you midlife crisis energy, the other made you want to join a bug parade. So yeah, it definitely worked. For a while at least. Until one movie took bugs acting human to a level that was just way too human. Let me ask you one question. You like jazz?
You like jazz?
I'm sorry.
By 2007, it seemed like Hollywood had finally figured it out. Make the bugs cute, make them funny, and give them human problems. Easy, right? Then came the Bee Movie. A Bug's Life was the same. Pixar perfected middle ground. The Bee Movie was the total opposite. A full-on identity crisis wrapped in honey and Jerry Seinfeld jokes. This movie didn't just blur the line between bugs and humans, it obliterated it. You've got Barry B. Benson, a bee who graduates from college, sues humanity for stealing honey, nearly ends global agriculture, and, yeah, falls in love with a human woman. This is the moment the insect problem went completely off the rails. Up until now, animated bugs had acted human. They talked, walked, and had emotions. But the Bee Movie? They took it too far. It asked audiences not just to empathize with a bee, but to root for a bee dating a florist. Yeah, WTF. It's wild when you think about it. The movie's central emotional tension isn't, can a bee save his species? It's, can this bee get the girl? It's so crazy that Barry and Vanessa have full-on emotional conversations like they're in a romantic drama. They go to cafes, they argue, they have chemistry.
Well, here's to a great team.
To a great team!
Well, hello.
Oh!
They really just expect us to just roll with it. Like, okay, sorry DreamWorks, I'm still trying to process how this bee drives a car and orders coffee. To this day, no one can explain to me why this was greenlit. I honestly can't tell if I hate everything about it or treasure it as an ironic masterpiece. Even the tone is confusing. Sometimes it's satire about corporate greed and environmental collapse. Other times it's just Jerry Seinfeld riffing about pollen. You never know if you're supposed to laugh, think, or call an exterminator. This movie is what happens when studios forget what made earlier bug movies work. In James and the Giant Peach, the bugs were magical friends. In Antz, they were workers and rebels. In A Bug's Life, they were underdogs. But in the Bee Movie, they were humans in tiny bee suits. Once you humanize an insect too much, you lose the charm and hit the uncanny valley. I need to give them one thing. It's definitely memorable and unforgettable. But it's just so awkward. Are you supposed to ship them? It feels like your brother is flirting with Siri and wants Siri to be his girlfriend. So after all these movies, from stop motion spiders to flirty bees, do you think they have cracked the code on how to make bugs lovable? Tim Burton made them mysterious and magical. DreamWorks made them neurotic and human. Pixar made them colorful and safe. And the Bee Movie? Well, that one just made them weird. Bugs only work when they stop feeling like bugs. Once they talk, walk, and worry like us, we buy in. But as long as they stay symbolic, the moment they get too human or too realistic, the audience probably hits eject. So, are movies with insects actually too ridiculous to enjoy? Or do you like it because of how insane it is?